welcome to another edition of Lost Louisiana, What's in a Name Part 2. I'm your host, Charlie Whinham, and I am inside the recently opened State Museum in Baton Rouge. It is filled with the rich sights and sounds of Louisiana's story. This is the perfect spot for anyone with questions about Louisiana. We also thought it would be the perfect setting to ask our continuing question of what's in a name. And our journey will include climbing to the top of Mount Lebanon, and we'll also head to the communities of New Roads, Ioway, and Abita Springs. But first, we will begin with the oldest permanent settlement in the Louisiana Purchase. The French settled Natchitoches, Louisiana back in 1714, and the history of this community is well preserved. If you talk with some of the locals, you'll get an idea that Natchitoches is the perfect spot just to hang out and learn more about Louisiana history. Or simply sit down and eat a meat pie. Or keep your eyes open. You just might see some Hollywood movie stars. The town of Natchitoches is so charming and so beautiful, you'd have thought it came right out of a Hollywood movie lot. In fact, it's the other way around. Hollywood has come to Natchitoches to make several movies, including Steel Magnolias, The Horse Soldiers, and Man in the Moon. But before we dive into Natchitoches going Hollywood, how did Natchitoches get its name? For that, we go back nearly 300 years when the Caddo Indians lived off the land, and the French Marines built a fort.
When the French first came here, and they first came in 1701, but when they established the settlement here in 1714, the French were, what they usually did was they named the place for the group, the Native American group that was living there. Mm-hmm. So this was their post at the Natchitoches.
Is there a translation at all to Natchitoches?
Well, Natchitoches, of course, is a Caddoan word. In Caddo, na means place or place of. And the closest pronunciation that I can produce for you is in Caddo it was Natchitoches. And Citos means pawpaw. So this was in Caddo, place of the pawpaw. Now pawpaw is a fruit that people ate, and it was a food source. We're in Fort St. Jean Baptiste State Historic Site. This is one of our Louisiana state parks, and this is a reproduction of the fort that was built here in 1716. The French came here, established a fort in order to more define their border between French Louisiana and Spanish Texas. What we do here is we educate people on our rich colonial history. The people who came here gave us so many of the traditions that we have today, and it all started with the French colony here, and it started because of the French putting Fort St. Jean Baptiste here and a community developing around it. We have staff members who dress in our costumes every day. They're doing activities every day, whether it's tanning hides or cooking on open flame fire or cooking on the hearth or shooting their muskets or doing any kind of activities that the French Marines were doing during this time period.
Staff members can take their lead from the scores of Hollywood actors who came to Natchitoches over the years, including John Wayne in The Horse Soldiers, Reese Witherspoon in Man in the Moon. But the town hosted a juggernaut of Hollywood divas when Steel Magnolias was filmed entirely in Natchitoches and released in 1989. The screenplay was based on the stage play written by Natchitoches native Robert Harling. And the Eatonton family home portrayed in the movie became the Steel Magnolia Bed and Breakfast 2.5 years ago, after Paul and Karen Rinehart purchased it from the Taylor family. This is a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Beautiful place.
I
believe I've seen this kitchen.
Yes, I believe you have. If you've watched the movie, you certainly have.
Yeah. You get a whole lot of questions about
Yes.
the movie. I can only imagine you get, hundreds of questions.
Hundreds. People enjoy watching the movie while they're in the house that it's filmed in. And as far as we know, it's the only house that you can actually come and stay in the house where a movie was filmed.
The bedrooms are named?
They're named after characters in the movie.
Such as?
We've got the Shelby room, which was wallpapered with pink wallpaper for the movie. We still have that same wallpaper and same drapes there. We have the Jackson room, which is the room that Jackson climbed through the window to see Shelby in the bathtub. And then we have the Clary room, that's named after Clary in the movie, and then the Malin room, which is kind of set up as a motherly type room.
And we're going to do a third floor, and we're going to put Weezer in the attic, so we're going to have Weezer's attic when we get through with it.
Paul and Karen say they have already hosted over 700 guests, including fans of the movie as far away as Europe and Australia. And watching the movie from inside the home gives guests an unforgettable experience.
Even people who aren't necessarily that big of movie buffs have just got the biggest kick out of watching the movie in the house it was filmed in. You'll hear them get up and they'll stop the movie and run to wherever the movie is and discuss that particular set.
Every angle you go can remind you of this movie.
Absolutely. This is one of the original movie posters here that was actually given to us by friends in Dallas. When they found out we'd bought the house, they found it and purchased it, had it framed, and gave it to us.
The perfect housewarming gift.
Absolutely.
The movie Steel Magnolias certainly put this place on the map, which brings up a new dilemma. How do you pronounce the name of this place? Is it Natchitoches, Natchitoches? You get the idea. And if you think pronouncing the name of this town is tough, just try and take a crack at spelling it. Well, that's when a former mayor put together a little sticker campaign to help remedy that. Heck, I got hit twice this afternoon.
I use the Cajun, Natchitoches. Somebody asked me to spell it, and I spell it for them. That don't sound like Natchitoches. I said, well, just take it and leave it.
Is that why maybe a whole lot of those stickers went out throughout your tenure?
That was another good reason. We try to work with the Chamber and Tourist Commission. We really push. I love Natchitoches. It's my hometown, and the people here have just been so grateful. And to serve 20 years in a place like Natchitoches is just a dream.
For meals that will stick to your ribs, his dream certainly includes Lasyone's Meat Pie Kitchen, started 38 years ago by James Lasyone. His daughter Angela dishes up the restaurant specialty, Lasyone's Meat Pie Platter.
This is our homemade brown gravy that we make every morning. It's made from our beef stock that we do with our homemade beef stew. And of course our homemade dirty rice. And I got some meat pies over this way that we've already got fried up here. Before, the dough has a lot to do with it, but we fry ours in peanut oil. A lot of people want to know about baking them. We recommend to fry them. The dough reacts a little differently when they're baked. It's a little bit tougher. So we fry them in peanut oil just 2 or 3 minutes because the meat's already cooked. You're just browning the dough. So so they can swim a little bit, put them in there, let them do the backstroke, and here you go.
The city of Natchitoches is the oldest permanent settlement in the Louisiana Purchase. What once was known as the Red River is now Cane River Lake, a peaceful 30-mile stretch of water that runs from downtown Natchitoches to the plantation country. So the next time you're thinking about heading to a charming little town that's larger than life, full of laughter, good food, and friendly people, just do what Hollywood does. Come to Louisiana. Come to Natchitoches. Screenplay writer Robert Harling was also honored a few years ago by LPB as a Louisiana legend.